What is happening, guys? Welcome to Palworld, my brand new addiction that I didn't know I needed in my life. I have been absolutely obsessed with this game. I am level 41 and I have about 70 hours of this game. 70 hours of this game now, and only a week and a half it's been out, something like that. But yeah, I basically, in the end game, I haven't beat the game yet, have a few end bosses to do, but basically the end game. As you see, I've built a master base here, and today I just want to go over basically everything you need to be a master in this game. I feel like I have a great grasp at this, and I wanted to at least do like one video on my channel for this game. So today we are going to go through everything it takes to be a master in Palworld. Now, before we get going inside the game, we're going to want to set up our world in the best way possible. And I've experimented with a lot of different settings, but this is what I've been playing with and I really like it. So let's go through with what I like. For the settings for the world, we have daytime speed normal, nighttime speed 1. This is just default settings. XP rate, I have it 2. The reason why I have it as 2 is because 1, after you get to level 30, leveling becomes super slow. So I bumped that up to 2 about a couple nights ago, and I feel like it's a lot more balanced. But it's cool how you can adjust it however you want. PAL capture rate, I have bumped that up to max, just because in the end game, it takes so many supplies to build the good spears that I just don't want to waste those. And honestly, it doesn't help that much. I still, have to go through like 3 to 4 balls to be able to catch something. So I just decided to max that out too. Honestly, they should probably put a 3 or maybe a 2.5 at least in here, 2.5 times rate, because even 2, sometimes even like a Jorman hide, like it took me forever to catch the other day with the epic balls. PAL appearance rate, note affects game performance. This does affect game performance. So this game is very low performance, intense, heavy. That means you can run this thing at very high settings. But this setting did drop my FPS quite a bit. I was amazed. I messed with it quite a bit. I had it all the way up, and then I bumped it down to half, and it still was causing enough performance, like it was 5 frames per second drop usually. So I just kept it at 1, and I feel like the game runs perfect there. So you can mess with it if you want. If you have a really high-end gaming machine, mine's a mid-gaming machine. If you have a really high-performance computer, try bumping that up. You'll see more pals in the world. Damage from Pal's multiplier, I keep that at 1, just standard. Damage to Pal's multiplier, just 1 as well here. Pal hunger depletion rate. So this is up to you guys. It's a survival game, but it gets pretty annoying when everything becomes hungry all the time. So yeah, I put that at 0.1. It seems to help a lot. Same with Pal stamina reduction rate. This is actually awesome because once you get a flying mount, if you have this set at 0.1, your stamina reduction goes like super slow. So basically what this means is you can fly for a long period of time without having to rest. So I just recommend, if you're not attached to, making the game super hard with stamina, just keep that down and you'll have a much more fun time. PAL auto health regeneration rate, I bumped that up to 2, just so when you pull your pals back in their balls, they can recover health a little bit faster. When you're fighting a boss, it just helps. And then we have PAL sleep health regeneration rate. This is just the regeneration rate of PAL box. I just kept it at 3. It was like 2 or 1 and just default, and I bumped it to 3. It doesn't make that much of a difference, but it does help a little bit. Damage from player multiplayer, I kept it 1. This is just standard, game settings. These are all just normal. Player hunger depletion rate, I put that at 1. It doesn't really matter. You can go down to nothing. Once you have a feed bag, you just basically eat from a feed bag, so it's automatic, so it doesn't really matter. Player stamina reduction rate, I bumped this to 0.1 all the way down, so I could, run as long as I wanted to, glide as long as I wanted to, climb for as long as I wanted to, just, for that kind of sake. Player auto health regeneration rate kept at 1. Player sleep health regeneration rate kept at 1. Damage to structure multiplier kept at 1. Structure deterioration rate 1. This is all just standard stuff. Maximum number of items dropped in the world. I did mess with this just to see if it affected much. Honestly, I didn't see much of a difference from 3,000 to max, so I just kept it back at normal. Normal was 3,000. Gatherable item multiplier, I just kept it at 1. Gatherable object health multiplier kept at 1. Gatherable object respawn interval kept at 1. Dropped items multiplier just 1. This is going to be up to you. Time to incubate massive eggs. So when I have played online with friends, I usually keep this at 1 or 2. Reason why is it just makes more fun, you know, to have to actually incubate eggs for timers. It just makes the game more fun when you have more people and you have to wait for eggs and whatnot. But if I'm playing solo, I bump that to 0. Reason why is you can just get an egg, go back to your base and hatch it and see what it is. But that's going to be up to you what you want to do. Enable raid events. So ever since the last update, the raid events are actually very difficult. I have been just ridiculously stopped by some of the creatures that come in the past update. After the past update, I had some like legendary electric birds come and attack my base and killed everything. Absolutely murdered everything. Now, if you're playing with a bunch of people, I would keep this on just because it's a lot of fun. But if you are trying to build a base, or maybe you're trying to play solo, just play the story, you know, try to fight the, you know, main bosses and whatnot, just keep it off. It doesn't really matter. If you have a lot of people you're playing with online, though, I would keep it on because it is really fun, you know, when a raid happens and you have to get all your friends together and fight them. But if you're just playing solo, just keep it off. It's not a big deal. Death penalty, up to you. I say no drops. I love to be able to use the death in here to respawn, which that's a little tip I will give today. And then max number of guilds, I have that at 20. You can put that at wherever you want. And then max pals working at base, bump that all the way to 20. That way you can have the most out. But yeah, these are the actual game world settings that I recommend for the best experience possible. Now let's talk about the graphics settings and that kind of stuff, because while this game is not, you know, very graphic in sense, you can still make it run more optimally, I think, with a few things. Here are my presets, though. I have it set at custom, full screen, whatever your resolution rate is, max FPS. I would set it whatever your monitor is set at, just to not have any problems. So my monitor is 60. I set it at 60. VSync, I have that on just because this monitor is a VSync monitor. And then motion blur, I have off. I'm not a fan of motion blur. And then everything else I have epic. I have put the settings down in high. And honestly, I didn't notice any performance boost, and even in medium, no performance boost. Actually, I noticed a decrease in performance, so I bumped it all to epic, and I feel the game runs really well. DLSS, I set to quality. Field of view, I want that so I can see more of everything around me, so I have that set max at 90. I wish that could go to 100. I think that should be able to go more, especially when you're playing on ultra wide. I feel like it's zoomed in too close on the character. Camera shake, I hate camera shake. Always turn that off. And ride camera distance, I have that at 2 also. When you get the bigger mounts in the game, I think this could be turned down a little bit because, as you saw, I was pretty far away on my Wyvern. But when you're first starting out, though, I think having 2 is good. I still like the far view back, so that's what I have there. For sounds and stuff like that, you can adjust it where you want. I had the master pretty low just because it doesn't really matter. But sounds, graphics, the game settings, this stuff is all going to be independent, but everything else is, you can control basically everything in this game. I mean, everything is real laid out to how you want to make settings go. So now let's talk about leveling, because like I said, leveling can be something in this game that can make you kind of go crazy after you get to level 30. So leveling, basically the fastest way to level is just catch 10 of everything. So if you go into your pal deck, which is basically how you can see all the pals that you have, you can see on there how much you have when you go into them, and by going into that, you can see then if you need to catch more. Basically, you want to catch 10 of everything, and once you catch 10 of everything, then you will get a bonus, basically. So if you go through here and see, like, complete 10 out of 10, 11, 12, 12 out of 12, capture bonus, so like some of these, like, I have 1 of 10 of these. On the very bottom right, it says capture bonus. Once you get 10, you get a big capture bonus. So if you have the XP rate up to 2, like I recommend, you can level really fast with that. So that's what I recommend. Leveling, just go out and catch stuff. That is honestly the best and fastest way to level. Some people say fight bosses and stuff. Honestly, just catching stuff. You get the best from just going out and catching stuff. It's honestly that easy to level. So now let's talk about bases. Now, as you see, this base is my endgame base. You know, this is the base. Obviously, we didn't start out here. This is the, you know, over in the volcanic region by the Anubis statue. It's a beautiful area over here. You need heated gear or heat-resistant gear to even live here. But this is my end game base that I have built. And I will do like a little walkthrough too, just to show it off here. But before I do that, though, I do want to show you where we evolved from. So while this is our end game base, me and my friend have been playing online, we did not start here. I will show you where we started at. So this is where we put our first base. Now, honestly, if we could go back and do it again, I would not have picked this spot. Ideally, for your first base, you want a place with quite a bit of natural ore, and this is just not a very good base that we put it up. I mean, this is just we built ourselves a house here, and it was really a nice place. I guess we still left the rock thing here. I thought the house was gonna not get destroyed, but I guess the house did get destroyed. But yeah, this is a nice, it was nice. It was a nice area. This area is like right down here. And I liked how we were right next to this base, so we could like farm them for like gun material and whatnot. And we also had a boss back here. We could constantly farm right there for ancient civilization parts. So that was cool. And also just the, you know, how it looked too, the aesthetics of this place looked really cool. That's kind of what attracted me here. My first day playing the game, I was like, yeah, we're going to build our base here. And that's where we did. But honestly, it was probably not the best idea. We did move our second base location, though. So once you get going, you know, you have a second base, and that's where we'll go now. So our second base we actually made here at this desolate church, which totally was taken from Elden Ring, right? But back here, as you see, there's a bunch of natural ore. Now, on this map, if you want to see where this location is, it's right here, right on the starting island, right there. Great place. This base held out. Basically, we stayed here for a long time, and we just had this as a mining base. We had our regular base where I just had showed you, and we had this base as our mining base, and we also had a breeding ground set up here too, but it was kind of tight, and this place was just very busy. There was enough room for a ranch back here, but there was no place for a house or anything, so it was strictly just a iron ore place. And it held its own. It was really good. We were able to approach the end game material with this place. But once again, I would not recommend this place. If you're just starting out, it might work, but you might as well get established in one of the best areas, right? So let's go there. And welcome to base number 2. So this is a fantastic location. As you see, we have natural ore, we have all this land, so we have tons of space, we don't have to crowd things in here, everything can be nice and organized. And then even up here, we have all this too, so we have a nice, you know, breeding ground, we have a ranch, just very, very balanced. Not enough for a house, I don't think. I mean, you could probably do a house, you could probably put a house over there if you wanted to in this corner, but I would rather just... The way I have it set up is I basically have my main base, which is my house, and then these other bases are working stations. So we have all our, you know, ore and rock and wood and all that kind of stuff at this base. And on top of this base, so we'll show you the location of this. This is an amazing area. So you start off right here in the game. You could easily make this your first base. You could easily get over here. And this is probably, I would say, the best first base location. Also, you know, raids take forever for them to get up here, and a lot of times they turn around before they even get up here. They come right through down there and they try to march up here, and a lot of times they just get tired and then they march back. They sometimes come over here behind here, but usually whatever's up here is going to kill them right away. It's honestly a great place in terms of defense. You really don't even need to build a wall at this base to protect yourself. It's just a very nice location. And that now brings us to our third base. So you do get to a point in the game where you have a third base. And once you get a third base, you can really, you know, space things out, establish, you know, different places for different things, and really be quite organized. And this place is amazing. Now, I think, honestly, this place might get patched because you have ore and you have coal here. It's like the only place in the location where you can have ore and coal being mined at the same time. And on top of that, it's just a great aesthetic scenery. You're on top of this giant mountain, so no raids can come up here. You have the view of this amazing waterfall. It's just a really, really cool place. And when you build this place out really nice and efficient, you can just get so much done here. And you could even put a house here too. There is, I mean, if you wanted to build up this center, you could put a house here. You could have this be a main base if you wanted to. I just felt like making it more of just a working base, but that's completely up to you. Also, it has plenty of room too for beds. You can build off to the sides and put a hot tub there and put all your stuff for food and stuff there. It has enough room for all this. It's a fantastic location. I'm just afraid one of these sources up here is going to get taken away. So I'm trying, you know, I'm mining tons up here right now while I can, just because I do think this is going to get nerfed, because this is just a very OP location. And this location spot is very easy to get to, actually. It's not crazy. You do have to fly a little ways. I suppose you could go on foot, but it's going to be a trek. I mean, if you're starting off the game, you'd have to make your way up here through there, but it's right up here. It's basically right up here. So that is where that base location is, right under this giant snow place. But yeah, it's a fantastic place. Highly recommend for maybe like your second base once you get going. Wouldn't recommend really for a first base, just because it's going to take a long time to get from the first island. Let's see here, that would be south. So first island's way over there. Before you get a flying mount even, it's going to be hard to get up here because you'd have to climb and you probably won't have the stamina. So I probably would not recommend first base, but definitely a second base. I think you could be really, really efficient. So just to go over those 3 base locations that I think are fantastic for just overall efficiency, you have the Desolate Church. That would be a great starting one. You have this one right over here, right south of the Desolate Church, which is up on the mountain. And then later on, you know, you have the big old base on top of the mountain up here, up north. And then once you get to the end game, you can kind of go around and scout out a place for your final home. And that is where we're going to go now. So once you approach endgame, you have the ability to have a third base. And this is where you can kind of have fun by having just your like main headquarters. By now you have thousands of materials, you have, you know, lots of levels, so you have everything unlocked almost. You can really go kind of crazy where you want to build this at. I really, really love this location. This location, I'll show you on the map, is right down here on the volcano, southern of the volcano, right under the volcano. But it's absolutely beautiful. Like I said, you do need heat resistance armor to get up here and live up here. But once you get that, I mean, look at this location. It's just beautiful. I love how I could build everything I needed here. And this is basically my production facility. So when we're talking about the 3 bases, you know, once you have a third base, I recommend having your main home also be your production facility. So everybody here, you know, we have our factory down here, so we can produce everything we need here. We have all our workbenches here. And as you see, there's no doors too. The reason why is so the pals can get in the house. If you put doors up, then the pals cannot get into the house. So it kind of sucks about that, but it's not a big deal. It still looks pretty aesthetic. But when you run back here, I have everything set up back here with one chest. Everything gets sent into this one chest. Transport right there. Another secondary chest right here. A master chest. And then other chests like little organization things like medicine cabinet, and also any pal souls and stuff we find. And then I also have another construction thing out here, just in case there's pals that like to work outside. There is a another just a regular conveyor belt out here to produce stuff. So we've got that. And that is the first floor. So also down here, you know, we have our PAL condenser and then 2 hot tubs back here. I just love this location. You know, when I built this out, I put wood everywhere. I'm so glad I did too. It balanced out the floor. That's another tip too. Whenever you're building a base, keep everything on a foundation. And also too, this base has an automatic skill tree, just respawning skill trees all the time, skill fruits. So if you have a transporter at your base, they will automatically drop them in this chest as they come. So you can look through here and be like, oh, an epic skill, a rock lance. I can teach my Pokemon that. But yeah, these just keep respawning. If you put a chest right next to it, the transporter will only put it in that chest. Over here, I have the garden area all set up here. Cake stations, these got to get upgraded to the new furnaces. I haven't put the new furnaces in. I always have a cake ready so I can get breeding. We will talk about breeding here today. Flour mill. I have all the beds here. As you see too, I only have 10 pals at this base. The reason why is because at this production base, we don't need, 17 workers. There's no need for it. We only need enough workers to be able to do the production stuff, basically. This is basically like the factory home. Basically, like you're a CEO, these are like the high level, head honchos working here. But going upstairs, we get to go into the nice managers, place. This place is more managers, CEO. We got our dining room, the piano. I can't wait till we get to interact with stuff. I've read online that they're going to make it so we can interact with stuff too, so that's pretty cool. We come out here though, got our dining room, got this. If workers aren't working fast enough, we can bump that up. But these workers here are always doing a great job, as we'll talk about the best workers today too. So then we go over here, we got a bathroom, master bathroom. And then up here onto the third story, we have our electric generator. Even with everything here, still 99%. Not bad at all. And then going in here, we have our egg incubation station. So when I play solo, I turn the egg timer down to 0 so I can just hatch eggs. But when I play with friends, we have 3 eggs in here, all so we can have those going. And we have this giant thing where we store with eggs. So once we're in the wild, we store eggs. We can just store them in there so we can keep putting them in there. This is also a great thing too, is since we're in the volcanic region, these eggs never get cold. So if you have eggs that, only hatch in certain climates or like to hatch in certain climates, these will keep your eggs warm. Now, I have run into, ice Pokemon taking a little longer. Ice pals. I said the P word. Ice pals taking a little longer to hatch because we're in the volcanic region. But it's honestly not too bad. And then over here, just another wooden shelf, a fireplace, just for some more aesthetics. And then over here, we moving up into the next story, we have the bedrooms. So the people I play with online, they're other person's over there. I'm over here. We have I have my master bedroom all here and everything. And then a nice little thing where I can store other outfits and stuff. But yeah, this is the main base. This is the main head honcho base. I'm real happy with how it churned out. And also too, the one thing too, to get up to the top floor, if I want to transport real quick, run over here, use the grappling gun, hit this wall, and up I go. So a nice little easy way to go there, but overall I'm really happy with how this base turned out. But yeah, this is the main base. Now hopping over to our second base is more of a work base. So we have all our ore here. This was one of the locations I showed you down there. We have our rock here, 9,000 rock, that's maxed out. 9,000 wood, that's maxed out. As you see, you get to end game and you just have plenty of materials. These are always cooking with palladium and fiber. All our Digtoises doing all their work out here. Got our beds over here set up for them, nice fluffy beds. That's another thing too, as soon as you can upgrade to the fluffy beds, it'll make your workers work a lot harder and less chances for injury as well. I have a hot tub back here and also a big bed too, just in case some break anything or have fractures, they can sleep in that to heal themselves. Over here we got all our simple food being bred, and up here we have, oh my goodness, all this ranch with all this honey and wool and eggs and milk to produce cakes, which over here we have the breeding ground. Something I do want to talk about here with the breeding ground, make sure and put a food station in the breeding ground. I've seen a lot of people complain about, oh, my pals are breeding, but then they always take a break to go eat and stuff. If you put a thing in here, they'll eat and they'll also keep breeding. So keep one in here, and that way your pals will just keep breeding. I've run into a lot less problems with that one food station in there. But yeah, this is that base. Pretty cool how I have this, cooked up. I put stairs here so the pals can get up and down and be able to transport everything they need to be. But this is mining base 1, where we get most of our regular igneous. Anyway. And then hopping up north to our upper base here in the north, this is where we get the higher level igneous we have in this furnace. So the refined igneous. Reason being is because we have coal and ore being farmed here. This is just another farming base. No house here or anything like that. Once you get to the end game, the main things you need are ore and coal. The refined igneous. They are literally probably what you'd say is end game in this. So getting a lot of those, as much as those as possible, as fast as possible, is going to be your best thing in the end game. So these are the 3 bases that I have. My main base, and then the 2 other farming bases. Another honorable mention base is over here by the Anubis statue. There's a great location of a bunch of coal over here, but no ore. Right over here, in this area right there. If my mouse doesn't jump over, this area right there. That's another great base location for one of your second or third bases for endgame stuff. Something else I do want to mention too I always recommend having just one box at each base. If you have more than one box, put a password on it. That way your pals don't drop things in the wrong boxes. So for instance, I have this box up here. It's an unlocked box, and everything is being transported into this one box. So 2,000 ore, 2,600 coal, you know, everything is being transported here. If I did want to have another box here to store stuff in, I would definitely put a passcode on it, because then the pals will not drop stuff into it. So that's just an easy way to keep things organized. Also, to put your pal box by the transporter. That way, when you're trying to transport, you can, if you're overburdened, you can just turn the camera and basically you can teleport just like that. You can teleport, pick up everything if you wanted to, and teleport. Another thing is, if you pick up everything and let's say you can't move, you just use your grappling gun, point it at the bottom of the box, right about there, and then you'll be able to put everything in. So use the grappling gun whenever you're overburdened. It works very handy. You can transport a lot of stuff that way. So let's talk about leveling. Leveling is not only, you know, through our player level, but actually through a catching level too, effigy level. Now you have to get these effigies. You see that little green thing right over there, right there, shining? That's called an effigy. Now, if you get a lot of those, you can level up your effigy to basically allow you to catch things with an easier rate. By the end game, you need to have like a level 9 or 10 to even stand a chance at catching some of the stuff. Now, the best way to find these things is wait till nighttime, and then they basically glow all over the map. And you can just fly around on whichever mount you want, and then just go get them. So there's one right here I had missed. Just pick that up, and then you can just level that up at your base, at the power thing at your base. See how they just kind of start, it's starting to get dark. The sun's starting to go down, and there's an effigy there. There's an effigy there, or no, that's the effigy there. See, there's a whole effigy there. They're all over the place. They're not hard to find, but they are kind of hard to see in the daylight. So it's nice to just be able to wait till nighttime. That's kind of how I do. Like during the daytime in the game, I do all the stuff like farming, all the pals, you know, going out on catching sprees and all that stuff. And then at nighttime, what I do is I fly around and I collect all these effigies, and then I level at the base. And that's how I am able to have a good catching rate too come endgame, because like I said, there's some creatures in this game that just go through balls after balls after balls, and leveling up your effigy system is the best way to have a better chance at catching everything high level later on. So just get your fastest mount. For me, it's my Ragnahawk, and go around flying and going picking those up. And also too, as you see, the settings too, I can just fly around endlessly with my stamina all the way turned down. I just love that. It's so much better than having to rest and just having to recover your stamina and everything. It's just a nice quality of life thing to be able to change settings like that. And I do appreciate the developers for throwing that in there. But yeah, that is how the best way to level effigies. Wait till it gets dark, and as you see, they just glow, and you go out and find them. Another quick tip too is dying. Dying is a good thing in this game. Let's say you're not by a fast travel and you've got everything you want to do and you want to get back to base. As long as you have that setting turned off in the settings that doesn't allow you to drop anything, just go down to respawn in your settings and then click yes, and you're just going to die and you're going to teleport. And in the early game, you can use this to your advantage to get around the map. So once you click respawn, you can go to all these different islands. So in the beginning of the game, what I did was when I died and stuff, and purposely died, I would use that to teleport to fast travel to other of these islands, these other starting islands, and be able to see the other environments, see the other pals out there to catch, and basically be able to build my map out like that. So I would die, check out this island, die, check out this island, and I would fly up and uncover the map as I went. It was just a really cool way to go about it. So that's kind of a neat thing too you can use. Now let's talk about pals at bases. What should the pals at bases be? Now, obviously, you know, they're going to have to do what is at the base. So for instance, at my main base, I don't have anything like mining or tree cutting or anything like that. All I have here is handiwork, basically, and cooking too. So I have, you know, my Jothlith Christ to basically keep my refrigerator cold, so all my supplies stay cold in here. He keeps that good. So he's a necessity for this base. I have my Dinosum Lux to give us electricity. I have 2 Catresses. They are excellent workers. A handiwork of 2, and they do a lot. They are very, very good. Also medicine. They're faster producing medicine. They're just, and great transporters as well. Then I also have an Anubis. I have 2 Anubises at this base just because handiwork, you know, the assembly lines, these things with a level 4 handiwork just knock stuff out super quick. And then we have a Ragnahawk for igniting stuff. And then our Pen King to take care of all our water needs, along with a Gobfin too, just to help with water, because sometimes that can get a little daunting, you know, having just one person watering. And then Petalina just does a fantastic job at all the planting. I actually breeded 3 Petalinas, 1 for each base, have come endgame that way, because she's just good at everything. She handles transporting and harvesting and handiwork. She's just an all-around jack of all trades. Fantastic worker. But yeah, this is what I have at this base. Now, if we jump over to the other bases, some of our mining bases, whatnot, I'll show you how you set up probably a proper mining base in terms of Pokemon. I have to put my actual cold gear on, though, real quick, because we are at nighttime. But here at this mining base, I have as many Digitoises as I feel I need. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then a 6 miner, a Reptyro 2 here. He's also a really good miner. A lot of people have forgotten about him. He also does igniting too as well, igniting level 3. I have an Anubis here for transporting and stuff and handiwork, a Pen King, and a Serpent for water needs. And there's my Petalina to take care of all the planning, 2 Ragnahawks for igniting, and also transporting. These are the main things. Ragnahawks are fantastic at transporters. They fly around. They're really good at it. 1 Ekideer, he's great at wood. As you see, we had 9,999 wood. This guy's just a beast. I do use a lamp bell. You can get a pal later endgame that just gives you high quality cloth. But honestly, I have no problem with just having a lamp bell produce regular cloth and then turning it into high quality. It's not a big deal. And then I have a mozzarella. So we have milk being produced for the cakes for breeding, a Beegarde for the cakes for breeding, and then also a chickpea for the eggs for breeding, or for the cakes for breeding. And that's what we have here. So if we jump over to our third base then, I kind of have the same setup there, except for no basically breeding. So if we look at this, we have a lot of Digitoises, Reptyros, basically all mining. One of my Ragnahawks died apparently, incapacitated. I wonder if he fell off the cliff. We'll put him back in there to recover. But yeah, I have 3 Ragnahawks here just because of all the transporting to do here. And don't know why there's a chickpea here. I think I meant to... Oh yeah, Azarob had died earlier, so he fell off, so I had to put him... Azarob is my main water, and then we have Petalita, and also Ekideer. I can't believe I had forgot to put a different water in here. This base, I'm surprised, still has food. That's kind of amazing. But basically, that's your necessities. You know, have your main workers, have a person tend to the plants. Petalina is fantastic, and then have a water, and you're going to be good. And those are the 3 bases, how we have those set up worker-wise. Now let's quickly look at what pals we should have in our party, because honestly, it doesn't matter why you start out. Until level, I'd say, you know, 35, maybe 30 to 35. That's when you should start building a deck, probably. I like to have, you know, my main flying mount, which for me, I'm kind of going back and forth. I like Wyvern, but I also like Ragnahawks for speed. So I have them both in my party right now. Probably not the ideal situation, but it's all right. I would rather have, you know, like an Anubis in here, so I'd have 1 flying, 1 handiwork, and I also like to have a Digitoise in my party too. The reason being is so when I'm going to different locations, I can throw a Digitoise out and he'll just mine stuff for me. So, for example, if we want to go mine Sulfur or Quartz, for that stuff, you know, we don't have bases for that stuff. We can just throw out a Digitoise and be good. Your other people in your party really don't matter too much. You can just kind of put what you want. I love Jormuntide Igneous. He's fantastic. He just destroys stuff out there. He takes bosses and just makes them like nothing. I was lucky enough to get this guy from an egg, just randomly. And then Brown Cherry Aqua is also a fantastic fighter. One of my favorites, probably. Just a beast. Very tanky. Lots of HP. Just a great all-around pal to have. And then obviously Wyvern. Wyvern is just an all-around beast. I mean, just a fantastic pal. And it's just fun to fly around on too. But yeah, your party, some people, you know, I might recommend, you know, I go have some fire, have some water, have some plant. I recommend more having just worker-based, because everything in this game is going to do good damage later on once it's leveled up and has good HP. It's more about just building out a deck based around what you need in the situation you need it. Once you have everything established, I don't think you really need to have an Anubis on your team because, you know, everything's built. But if you're trying to build stuff, it's not bad to have an Anubis that you could just throw out and have handiwork done whenever you need it. So one thing I did want to talk about is how to get an Anubis very early on, because Anubis, you know, like I said, has level 4 handiwork, and transports and all that stuff. Is just a fantastic worker all around. So how do we get an Anubis early on? Well, you can breed one, and breed one very simply at that. All you're going to need is two early I almost said the P word again, two early pals, and that is Bushi and Penking. So on your map, if we look, we have a 23 Bushi right here as a boss. He's not even that hard to take on. As you see, here's the starting island. You can make your way over there pretty early to get him. And then you also need Penking, which is even easier to take on. He is a level 15. He's up here, you know, by the Desolate Church. He's right north of here. Once you get these two in the breeding farm, you can breed them. Now, obviously, you need a male and a female, so you might need to, you know, farm a little bit to be able to get those, but you should be able to come out with them pretty easily. And also there's other combinations too, to be able to get an Anubis. You can look online, people have figured this out, but getting Anubis really quick is one of the best things you can do early on. Another one you want to breed is a Ragnahawk. So a Nightwing and a Elizabeth. Nightwing and Elizabeth will give you a Ragnahawk. Now, Nightwings can be found all over the starting area. They're just all over there. And then an Elizabeth, you can either fight the boss, which is up here somewhere. Let's see here, Elizabeth right here. Now, she is 31. Now, I would not recommend taking her on at there, just because she is kind of a challenge. I would recommend trying to either get her from an egg up here. I had randomly picked up an egg up here and hatched her. So you could go around flying around this area to try to find an egg, or you could try to, you know, catch one in the wild, Cinnamoth Forest. You can go around there. She will be up there somewhere. But those are your two options to be able to get a Ragnahawk. Ragnahawks are fantastic at transporting. And then the next one I want to talk about is getting a Digtoise. Now, Digtoise, they are very nice to have. Like I mean, I have tons of them, and they just are fantastic miners. Going up here to the Anubis, they are all around this island. Now, you do need a heat resistance to go up here, but you can get one pretty early on. And once you have that, you can just go around knocking out Digtoise and catching them. They do take a bit to catch. They are kind of stubborn, but using a Giga Spear or even a Mega Spear, you can even catch them with. So just kind of walking through here, they're all going to be up there. That's a great place to get those. Another thing I recommend to, you know, have overpowered pals early on is once you do get a flying mount, fly into the endgame areas and pick up eggs. So I'm talking the volcano area. That is an endgame area. This area up here, you'll get some amazing frozen stuff. Just go up there and look for the huge or large eggs and just bring them back to your base and hatch them. You're going to be amazed how many cool pals you can come up with that. Like I said, I got my Jormuntide Igneous just by flying around here. There are so many huge fire eggs just laying all around up here. You can just fly around, pick them all up, bring them back, catch them, and see what you get. That'll help you out a lot if you're struggling on catching some of the bigger and more rare stuff in the game. So we've talked about bases, we've talked about base workers, we've talked about the best pals to get early on. Let's talk more about the materials and how you get certain materials in the game, because not everything is extremely easy to say like, oh, here's ore, here's coal, that's all you need. There's other stuff we're going to need, and let's talk about that right now. Now, as you get into the end game, you're going to come up with a whole bunch of things you're going to need. If we look at our queue in here, you know, we have polymer, we have cement, we have carbon fiber, we have gunpowder, nails, I guess, are early on, circuit boards. You know, you have some of this advanced stuff. So where do we get some of this stuff like, you know, bones, pal fluids, high quality pal oil, sulfur? I mean, just a lot of this stuff. Like coal, like we talked about where we get coal. So, I mean, that's kind of self-explanatory. So where do we get some of this stuff? I mean, it has to be somewhere, right? Al, I've got you covered. I've got places where we can get all this stuff very, very simply. Now, you know, obviously we know where ore is. You know, ore is all over the map, and get yourself an ore base, you're good there. Coal, the same with coal. Coal is kind of all over the place. Get yourself a coal base, and you're going to be good. Then moving on to sulfur. So what do we do about sulfur? Well, sulfur, there's actually an amazing location right up here in the volcano. So another reason I love having my home right by the volcano, so I can just travel right on up here, travel up to here to Mount Obsidian Midpoint. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to throw out my Ragnahawk, fly up in the air a little bit, and then I'm going to look for, see, there's those large eggs I was telling you about. They're all over the place up here. Just fly around and look for these sulfur deposits. So right over here, real close to fast travel, you're going to have some sulfur deposits. As you see, there's some more over there even too, if you wanted to go even farther. But the cool thing about sulfur is it doesn't take a lot. It doesn't take a lot of sulfur deposits to get a bunch in your inventory. And you only need the stuff for gunpowder. So throw out your Digtoise, activate Drill Crusher, and you're going to see this you're going to see the sulfur just eat all up. And we already got 21 sulfur. So there's no need to have a sulfur base because you can just bring your Digitoise out on the field and get as much sulfur as you need. And then once you're good, you can stop him, pull him back, and if you're too far from a fast travel, you can just go ahead and kill yourself, and you'll just respawn. So that's sulfur, you know. Once you get that, you know, bring it back to your base and drop it in here. What about PAL fluids? PAL fluids you get from water pals. You know, killing water pals or catching water pals, you get PAL fluids. Now, what is the best way to get these? Well, I have found the best way to get these is to go right here on this fast travel. So this starting area, starting strip, I guess you should say. Going to this beach right here. We'll actually do this so I can show you here. We're going to go right down here. And we're going to just go hunting. So we're going to pull out a good Pokemon, or a good pal. If I use the P word and one more time, we're going to pull out a bow. We're going to just pull out Wyvern. Wyvern will do good. And we're going to shoot some water Pokemon, or water pals. So it's going to kill it. We're just going to pick it up. And we're going to get PAL fluids. Now, you saw only one, but honestly, there is so many pals around here. You're going to be amazed how fast you can get PAL fluids through. I mean, these things are just going to... Our Wyvern's just going to kill stuff. We're just going to go and go on a hunting spree. And if you make a few rounds around this place, you're going to come up with so much PAL fluids. You could also use this as catching time, too. You know, if you're still under-leveled and you're trying to catch all your stuff and complete your PAL deck, you can try to catch 10 of all these, too. And you'll also get the PAL fluids for catching them. So catching them, or... Oh, that one didn't drop any. That's... Oh, no, it did. I just picked it up fast. I got 2 there for that one. So as you see, they're just all over this beach. And this is the best and fastest route that I have found to get PAL fluids. And, I mean, you could go around some other beaches too, I'm sure. But this is just, you know, low-level creatures, real easy to kill. And yeah, so once you get all of them, as you see, just already, we were able to pick up 6. And most stuff, you know, is going to be able to craft with a lot less. Obviously, cement, you know, takes more. So this is a great place to farm for when you want to produce monstrous amounts of cement. The next thing we got to worry about is leather. Lots of things in this game, including lots of the endgame armors, require leather. Now, you cannot have a pal that, you know, constantly farms it, but you can get it from other creatures. Now, when you're low level, the best way to get leather is to farm small creatures that have a chance of dropping it. Or not a chance, but they drop it all the time. So fox sparks, dour hides, or dour wolf, I'm sorry, the dour hide wolf ones, the ones that are wolves, and anything like that, they drop them. The Eki deer down there, those drop leather. But once you get high enough level, the best way to get leather, you see this giant thing, this mammoth, this 34 mammoth, this thing is the best way to get leather later on. As you're going to see, we get 7 leather from each one of these we kill. And once you get to be level 40, you can kill these very, very simple. As soon as my Wyvern decides to actually attack. There we go. So Mammoth, he's going to fall in the water, I guess. We're going to let my Wyvern kill the Mammoth here. He's gonna die really quick. I'll throw this just to see if I can catch him. 2% chance. We'll just kill him. So, as you see, all this stuff we're gonna get leather times 6, high quality pal oil by 6. All that stuff we get from killing the mammoths, and they're very simple to kill, and they're all over the map. I mean, literally, they are all over the map. If you look around, there's one of the biggest creatures that constantly spawn. There's one also by this base, or by our old base that we had used to be over here. There's one over here. they're all over the place. Just fly around a little bit. There's always going to be one in the starting area. You can come back and constantly farm that one. You do have to sleep first, so if you wanted to sleep and then farm it, you know, fast travel and whatnot, you can constantly farm that thing. But mammoths are going to be your best bang for your buck for PAL quality, or PAL, yeah, quality PAL oil, and also leather as well. And also as well is they have a chance, or no wait, they don't have a chance. Bones. They also do drop some bones, which you do need for cement as well. Which cement is probably going to be one of the things you're going to be trying to farm most things for in this game. When it comes to cloth and when it comes to high quality cloth, really just a lamp bell works. You can just get a lample and then you can use that to produce your high quality cloth. See, it just takes more of it. Obviously, you know, to get regular cloth, it takes 2. It takes 10 to get wool, or 10 wool to get high quality cloth. It's a lot more, but lamples, they, as you saw in my base, how much they produce. Put a couple of those in a ranch, you're going to be good. That's not really anything to worry about there. Now, one that may be kind of confusing to find is called flame organs. They can actually be dropped by acquiring these dudes. These dudes are super cute, but they also produce flame organs in a ranch. So if you want flame organs endlessly, a lot of flame organs, get one of these things and they drop a lot. You can catch these things, but you can also just breed them. So once you get your breeding set up, you can just breed this thing. All you need is a pangolin and a cativa. So super early things. A penguin you can find right off the bat, and also a cativa right in front of in the very beginning of the game. Find a male and female of those and just breed them and you'll get a flame bell. And like I said, this thing just comes handy because it will just endlessly drop flame organs in your ranch. So that's how you get flame organs, and endless supply of them. Lots and lots of them. When it comes to charcoal and carbon fiber, nothing different there. All you need there is, if you go here, you can go to carbon fiber. You have 2 options here to produce. You have coal, and you can also use charcoal. Obviously, charcoal, because you have trees that you can just cut down, and by the time you are at this point in the game, I have thousands and thousands and thousands of trees cut down that I've turned into charcoal, and I can produce all the carbon fiber I want. That's really not a hard one to get at all. Cement we talked about. We talked about stone. That's easy. Bones you get from just going out and killing just creatures. Another way to get bones too, if you don't want to kill those big mammoths, is if you want to go over here to, I believe it's Bridge of the Twin Knights. Go here, and you can also farm things there to give you bones. And you can also, if you want to, go to, let's see here. Is it Cinnamon Forest? I think it's Cinnamon Forest or Mount, in this area somewhere. In this area, you can farm at night, farm the Lapoons, and they will also give you bones. So that's another way you can do that. But honestly, mammoths, they are just the best way to go about it. They're pretty easy to kill once you get high enough level, and they just provide all of the bones you ever need. So we talked about cement, carbon fiber, circuit boards, polymer. So how you get polymer, high quality PAL oil, kill a lot of those mammoths, you'll get that. And pure quartz. So quartz, guys, let's talk about quartz. We have a location for this. So we don't have a base, but once again, we have a location. If we head up north, right up here, we've got this area right up here, Pristine Snowfield. So right, just if you fly up there, right on the edge, that's where we want to go. Pristine Snowfield. And obviously, you're going to need some snow equipment for here, so I'm going to put on my cold-resistant gear. And then right here, actually, we'll just run over here. These 2 things, or one of them at least, is quartz. Hopefully this thing doesn't aggro. If it does, oh well, I guess. Right here is quartz. And this thing is aggro. But yeah, this is quartz, so you can just throw out your Digtoise, and he'll farm that. He'll probably, yeah, Digtoise will want to take out him first, apparently, though. Well, we'll just kill him. 0.1% chance. We'll just try to catch him here. Why not? or just kill him. All right, so once you got him, use your drill crusher. Nope, not on him. Not on him. Come back here. And get the quartz. Okay, why is he... Sometimes this game kind of bugs out. There we go. So just bring your pal up here, Digtoise, and you can get quartz right there. Pure quartz. Right by the fast travel. This area right up there. Very, very, very easy to get to. Even if you didn't have cold gear, you could probably get up here and live a while, but probably would not recommend it. But that is going to be the quartz. So let's respawn and go to the next location. The last thing we need is ancient civilization parts. These things right here. How you get these? Bosses. Bosses, dungeons, all the story content in the game. Cool thing is, too, you can farm bosses over and over and over again. So if you wanted to, you could go kill that level 11 thing over here that I had showed you earlier in this video. You could go kill that thing. You could go kill, you know, Mammoth, the Mammoth boss fight here. You could kill him and get another or couple ancient civilization parts. Very, very easy to get. Just kill bosses. Basically play the game and do the story for what the story is anyway. The trainer battles, and you are going to get plenty of ancient civilization parts. Real quick, I did want to cover the cake materials, everything you need to make cakes. So right here, we can bake our cakes. If we want to look at the recipe for cakes, if I go over here, I just have everything in the freezer here. So we need a few different things. You need honey, you need milk, berries, eggs, and flour. Those are the things you need. Now, a lot of those things are easy to get. You know, you got your wheat that you can churn into flour right here through the mill. You have your eggs, what you can get in endless supplies. You have milk that you can get from, if you wanted to buy anything too, you could also always buy it from the small settlement. This village right here. So the starting island is right here. Small settlement is right there. This is somebody that I definitely recommend, you know, getting this fast travel early on. Because it is nice to be able to stop at this guy. Now, obviously, you don't want to have to buy everything from this dude all the time, so you kind of want to start automating your farms so you don't have to pay for this. But if you wanted to get a cake, you could go here and go through here and buy some stuff. You know, you buy your red berries, you buy your milk, you buy your eggs, you buy your wheat that churns, and then you could churn that into flour. If you really wanted to do all that, you can also buy bones here too. If you wanted to buy bones. You can buy all this stuff here. Leather, you can buy leather here. Obviously, it's going to cost you money. That's why I've showed you other ways to go about this stuff. But one thing you don't see here is honey. So where do we get honey from? So honey can be found in a couple different ways. First way is Cinnamoth Forest. You can go here and kill the Cinnamoths and get honey from them. Or catch them. It's up to you. Catch them or kill them. Whatever's easier. They are a little higher level. They're level 20, I think, if I remember right. And you can go there and get honey that way. Or you can also walk around this area and look for beegardes. So beegardes are these things right here. Let me get back to them there. These things right here. This is a beegarde. Now, beegardes, when you go to catch them, do this thing called blow up. They start to count down when you get too close to them and blow up. My best advice is use a gun to try to get their health down and then start chucking balls at them to try to catch them. They're kind of hard to catch. You can also get lucky from getting them in eggs. But once you get yourself a beegarde, you are going to be set. Put this thing on the farm and you are going to have so much honey. Elizabeth used to produce honey, but with the last patch, Elizabeth does not produce any more honey. I don't know if that was intended or accidental. Maybe Elizabeth will produce honey later on. I hope she does. That would be nice, because Elizabeth is a lot easier to get, surprisingly, than Beegarde, just because Elizabeth does not blow up. Beegarde does blow up. But once you do get, and you can get beegardes up there in the same place of Cinnamoth Forest, you know, all up here, they're going to originate all in this location up here. So if you just run around this island up here, if you want to see, here's the starting island, this island right here, they're going to have them all over the place. Like I said, they're hard to catch though. But once you get one, you're going to be all set. You only need one, and that thing produces so much honey. And that's the best way to get honey. Now, once you get a beegarde, you can then produce honey, you can produce all your cakes, and breed everything you need. So everything we talked about today, you can breed. One thing I did want to say is how you get milk too, endlessly producing, is you want to get a mausolea. So a mausolea is basically a cow. This thing right here, if you wanted to find them, they are kind of in various places. If you, they're kind of all over the place, you know, through here in the starting area, through this area. Well, not really the starting area. They have to go more up north here. They're found in this region here, kind of all over. But if you just wanted to breed a cow, that would be the easiest way. All you need is a fox sparks and a nightwing. So very, very easy things to get. I mean, fox sparks is a very beginner a very beginner pal, and a nightwing is also beginner pal. Nightwings you find on the first island, and then also fox sparks you find all over the first island. So just get a nightwing and a fox spark, make sure male and female, and you can get yourself a mozzarina, and then you're gonna have all the milk you need. So chickpeas, you know, they give you your eggs, you got your flour, you got your beegardes for your honey, you got your mausoleas for your milk, and berries, obviously, you got your berry farms. Everything else is pretty easy to get. So then you can have an endless supply of cakes. Now, something I did want to say about the cakes, they do have a timer. Each cake can only last for 20 minutes. So I leave them here on the burner until I want to go breed. So I always have 3 cakes here, and then when I want to go breed stuff, I go set the breeding farm up first, and then I come back and grab the cake and put it in there. The reason why is because, like I said, 20 minutes, if you pull a cake out and you're like, oh, I don't know what to breed, and you're looking up online, and I will put a guide online, a guide below too, that shows you a really cool website for breeding. I could actually show you that right now. So this website, palworld.gg/breeding calculator, I'll put that in the description of the video. You can basically figure out whatever you want to breed through this website. And you'll also do find all combinations for child reverse. So basically, if you wanted to breed a malpaca, click that. It's going to give you all your combinations to breed a malpaca. If you wanted to craft a vanworm. If you wanted to breed a vanworm, all you do is click on it, and you can see all the combinations to breed. So you can go through here. It's an amazing website. Like I said, I'll put the description up, or I'll put the link in the description of the video, and you can go through and whatever you need to craft, whatever you need to breed, you can just click on it and find the recipe, get a male and female, and you're going to be good. Very cool website to have. Definitely recommend this website. And I do have just a few bonus tips to wrap up the video. Just if you guys didn't know, if you're trying to this is kind of a beginner tip, but if you didn't know, if you're building a house for your first time, you might just install a roof, which is, you know, you go to the roofs, you might, you know, just put a roof on your house and think that's good enough, and then you try to sleep and it doesn't work. The reason why is because you need to put a roof stone on first. So make sure your roof's above your bed and honestly all over the place. Use a regular roof, and then on top of that roof, you can attach... Oops, that's not what I wanted. On top of that, once you get that, then you can build up the roof on the side and actually make a roof. But make sure there's always stone above whatever it is. That way you'll have no problem sleeping. That's just something that early on, I was in my first house, I had just put a roof on, and then my character would not sleep, and I was like, what the heck's going on? You do need a square roof above that. So that's just a little tip right there. Comes in handy. Another tip is, as you see, I am putting off light right now, like a lot of light when you look at it. Like, let's go into a little darker area. All this natural light I'm putting out right now is from this hip lantern that I'm wearing. So the hip lantern, you get pretty later on than you'd think. You know, you should get, it's like this you'd think you would get earlier on than 22. But once you get to 22, absolutely get the hip lantern. It's in your ancient technology field. Definitely get this, worth every penny. You no longer need a torch, and it just lights up everything, because this game gets extremely dark at night, and this just makes it so you don't have to use a torch. You can use guns and everything, and you're still all the illumination you want. When it comes to leveling stats in this game, I recommend first up getting weight to 800. 800 is a good amount to be able to carry a bunch of stuff. You could probably go to 1,000 even, but I found 800 is a good medium there. And then if you don't have stamina turned down in the settings, I didn't learn about that setting till later on, I did recommend leveling to 180. But once you turn on the setting, it doesn't matter. So this actually does not matter at all. I definitely recommend leveling health. Health is the one thing you should put all your points into, because the later pals in this game hit like a truck. Even with a maxed out Mega Shield, this shield will get absolutely destroyed with just a few, with even one attack in the late game areas. So definitely having your health pool up at least 3,000 by end game is definitely recommended. So that's what I recommend. I didn't level anything else. You could level work speed, but it doesn't really make that much of a difference, especially when you have pals working on stuff for you. So that's how I recommend leveling. Another quick field attack tip too is, let's say your pals are not attacking in the field. You'll see like sometimes your pals will just stand there. If you press R3, you can bring up this and you can command your pet. So you can command to focus on same enemy, you can command to don't attack, you can feed them, you can pet them, and you can command to attack aggressively, which is if they are not attacking, I definitely recommend just command attack aggressively. If you're trying to catch Pokemon, use that, but once they're almost dead, pull your Pokemon back, your pals, I'm using the P word again, your pals back, and then you can go ahead and catch. That's what a lot of people are having problems with. Their pals are killing their other pals that they're trying to catch. Get them to where they're coming down on health, and then you can pull them back. Another cool thing too is, let's say your pal is fighting a boss. Let's say the boss has launched a mega attack at your pal. Just pull him back in the ball. He won't get hit. And let the attack go down, and then throw your pal back out, and he'll continue the fight. That's a really cool way to keep your pals alive. Also, when you're playing the game, you cycle through your pals. So, like if you're fighting a boss, and if you're getting just destroyed, put your pals in the balls and let them heal, and keep cycling out through your other pals, and let your other pals do work. And then just keep, when he's almost dead, put him back, and then throw out your next. Just basically keep cycling in boss battles, and you'll never have your pal die, because once the pals come back, they heal. So that's just a little tip to stay alive longer in boss battles. And on the same thing, if your pals are not working at the base, just go ring the bell. Sometimes this randomly switches. I don't know why, but it will randomly switch from focus on work to attack invaders. Just go ring the bell a couple times, and your pals will get back to work. It's just a glitch that they have to fix, but once they fix that, it should be fine again. But until then, just ring the bell. Everything will be good. Another one too is, if once you're hatching eggs, all the eggs you hatch will be level 1. Let's say you want to use one of those. It will be a level 1 at first in your party, but just do a few things in the field and it will level up real quick. For instance, my Odormentide Igneous was a level 1. I took it out into one boss battle and it was already a level 30. And then another couple battles and it was already up to 40. So anything you want to play with in this game, even if it's low level, just keep it in your party and your level will sync with it really quickly. You don't have to worry about fighting with a level 1 for a long time. It's going to be leveled up very instantaneous. A couple things too, when you get end game, it's not a bad idea to keep your game on overnight, but when you do keep it on overnight to be able to have your stuff being farmed, go to the base where you want to be farmed at. So if I'm leaving my game on overnight, I'm not going to be at my home base. I'm going to leave my character up at one of my other bases where I want the supplies to be farmed the best. Because your pals will work most efficiently when you're there. It's a glitch right now in the game, but for some reason, when you're not at a base, it'll still function, but it will not function as optimally as when you're there. And also, obviously, when you do AFK farm, make sure rating is off. Otherwise, you're just going to wake up in the morning and you're going to be dead, and it's going to say respawn, and you're going to be ticked off. Trust me, I learned the hard way on that. Always turn rating off when you're doing AFK for a while. And then, when you do turn your game off at night, go to each, this is a hassle, I know, but go to each base, and what I do is I have at the end, these last 3, I have base number 1, base number 2, base number 3. When I do turn my game off at night, I drag pals from base number 2 in here. Basically, I keep my pals in the box when I turn the game off. The reason is because when your game is off, for some reason, they lose sanity points. So you'll come back and your guys will be all hungry, they'll be depressed, they'll have sprains and breaks and injured, and some of them will be sick. If you put them in your pal box overnight and then just drag them out the next time you play, it's a little of a hassle, I know, but that's why I recommend having the last 3 blocks for each base. So your main base, your mining base number 2. That way you can just, when you boot up the game, drag them in and your pals will be all good to go with their sanity levels up and good to go. That's if you're not AFK farming. So that is the tips I have for you guys. Like I said, I'm having a blast with Palworld. This is such a great first game to play, of 2024. Such a great way to start the year. And like I said, I've had a blast, over 70 hours in this, and I can't wait for them to do more updates. But I hope this video gave you all the tips you needed to be a master at this game. And if it did, give it a like. I appreciate y'all. Come to the channel and subscribe. I have more guides, content, let's plays always coming at you. But till next time, guys, catch them all. Be the best you can. Stay strong, and we'll see you next time, guys. Thanks for watching.